Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Joshua with A Ways Away. I have been gone for a long time. For those of you who have been waiting patiently, I don't know why the hell you would have. If you hear me and you go, oh, there he is again, thank you for sticking around. But my friend came by, Chime, and she was like, hey, what the hell? Where have you been? What have you been doing? Why haven't you done anything? I know, I miss listening to you. I can't find you. What's going on? Are you using a different platform? What's the deal? And I had no answer. I did have an answer, but they were all excuses. And those excuses are, I've been busy. It's been a busy time for me. And forgive me, I got to wet my whistle, as they say. I need to get some RC Cola. It's not that Fayo. It's not that expensive Pepsi either, or that Coca-Cola, which I probably can't say any of these things. I'll get in trouble for saying all of them, I'm sure. But whatever. I'm going to have some RC Cola. If that is okay with you, let me just... Yeah, so anyway, it's been a long time. I haven't been around. It's the holidays, man. It's the holidays. I've been busy, and I've been extremely bored out of my fucking mind. So she's like, hey, you got to get on right now. And so she comes over here just to motivate me, just to do this. And so that's why it's on. That's why it's here. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
And I don't have any sort of things to talk about. I can't think of anything to talk about. All I can do is tell you I've been busy, started a new job, driving all over the state that I live in. And I live in the state of Florida, so let's just talk about it. I've talked about it a couple of times. There is not a damn day that goes by that I'm not on one of these roads somewhere where somebody, and it's literally every single trip I take, every single time I take a trip, and I'm not talking like, oh, I'm leaving here and I'm going to Orlando. I'm talking if I'm leaving here and I'm going 5 miles away to the Walgreens, then I get out of the car, then I get back in the car, I leave the Walgreens, and then I go somewhere else like to the Publix. And when I get to the Publix, each one of those trips, somebody in this damn state is going to cut you off. They're going to act like idiots. They're going to flick you off like you've done something wrong because you're driving at 50 miles an hour with not a car in front of you in sight. And not a car behind you in your rear view mirror in sight. But they have to pull out in front of you, 30 feet in front of you, doing 20. Wait till you get right up to them after you have slowed down and then speed up. God forbid if you're on a highway like I-4 and you're doing the speed limit, 70 miles an hour, or you're on 275, and people are in these big pack. Do you remember? Chime. Hey, pay attention here.
I am paying attention.
Do you remember when you were in driver's ed, like in 1927?
Yes, I do.
You were driving, the Model A at the time, right? The Ford Model A, that was you, wasn't it?
It had the crank in the front and all that good fun stuff.
Damn, your car had a crank?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
No.
Man, I had the old Stanley steamer. I had to wait till it rained to gather a bucket of water to be able to pour into that, to be able to go, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But anyway, you remember in driver's ed, they talked about wolf packs.
Yes.
And, you're not from here.
No.
But when you're driving here,
Yes.
I mean, it's great. It's a great experience for you, isn't it? So you have these packs, and when you say like wolf packs, they used to teach you in driver's ed. They said, stay away from the wolf pack, as they called it.
Slow down even if you have to, so let them pass you. Don't get in grouped with a bunch of other cars because it's very dangerous.
Right. So you were not, like in that group of people that would, could create a wreck, right?
Right. You're supposed to stay away from that.
So when you're here in this state, there's not just like a group of 10 or 15.
Oh, no, it's like 50.
There's like 40 or 50 or more cars all grouped together, all of them in this it's like I think it's a NASCAR race. They're literally like all together, all trying to pass each other, and there's 4 lanes. And they're all just having this battle of like, oh, I got to be first. And God forbid if they're not first, because if they're not first, then they're going to get over 3 lanes just to be first. And this process continues while everybody else who's just sitting around in their cruise control that are traveling the highways are just trying to mind their own business. And so that pack decides to go, and they keep on going at 85 miles an hour. But every single time in one of those packs, you have to have what appears to be 2 or 3 too fast and too furious little young wannabe guys that think that they're the best drivers in the world that come zooming through that whole entire pack of 50, doing about 95 or 100 miles an hour in these little piece of shit ass like 1985 Honda Civics that make this loud meh. They think it sounds like a lawnmower it's going to blow up, and somehow it's doing like 95 miles an hour, and they love it. They love it. They think that's the wonderful thing. It's the best thing in the world. Sometimes you get some badass cars. I won't lie. I've seen some supercars going by. When they go by, it's no joke.
Well, yeah, but you kind of get out of the way for the supercars.
Well, you don't even see them coming.
No,
all of a sudden, it's just
you
boom,
see that bright orange Lamborghini.
And it's
you
just
get out of its way.
Oh, I would willingly want to because I want to hear
it.
what it sounds like as it passes me. But
yeah, you got these little street racer guys, and then you got the guys on the bikes that do it too.
And it's so far and few in between that you see these supercars when it does happen. But my point is, what I'm getting at is that it doesn't matter where you go in this state, no matter what road you're on, no matter where you're traveling. If you're on the highways, I don't know what's more dangerous. I don't know if it's more dangerous traveling in the city or if it's more dangerous traveling on the freaking highways in this state because
it's traveling in Florida that is dangerous.
It's nuts. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. So, I mean, I could
every day.
I've talked
even
about
if I'm
that
going
so many times.
From here, if I'm going from my house to the grocery store, which is a quarter of a mile away, I'm lucky to get home alive.
That's what I'm talking about. Everywhere you go, every single time.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every single day.
Every day. And apparently this must be the state of hit and runs. It seems like every single morning when you wake up, it's like, okay, traffic on the 9s, weather on the 8s, and hit and runs on the 10s.
Yes.
There's always a hit and run, and
almost a daily thing.
Here's what we're looking for, here's who we're looking for, and here's who died. And if it's not that in the summertime, July and August during the rainy season, it's, the daily lightning strike person that got killed on the golf course somewhere.
Right, or the idiot who has a wreck on one of the 3 bridges.
The only 3 bridges that cross the bay. And if one person wrecks on one of those, and for whatever reasons, that's where they only have 2 lanes on each side.
Yeah.
Let's have these main throughways going through your towns. But if you're crossing a body of water where there is no neighborhood, there is no town, there is nothing, we'll only have 2 lanes going each way.
And the biggest city.
But let's run 8 lanes going each direction through the cities and the towns.
80% of people who live where we live work across the bridges.
Yeah, well, they call that ignorance or urban sprawl, if you will. Even though there's no rural area here, and there is, but you got to go like north or inland. And I've been inland Florida, and I just won't ever go back. And if I have to for my job, I do. And when I do, it's just like I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen an area of this country that is just so depressed. Or depressing. It's just
so it's worse than rural South Carolina.
It's just no. I don't mean it like I mean like there's nothing to see. It's just like flat and it's like a boring looking plantation.
It's just ugly.
It's not my favorite.
It's ugly.
People are like, oh, you should see the Everglades. Well, I kind of did, and it kind of looked.
Like them.
I don't dislike it, but it's not like, oh my God, the Colorado Rockies are so beautiful. It's kind of like, oh look, there's
swamp
and
alligators.
Oh.
And birds.
And there's a
fan boats
tree. But there's another tree there, though. But it looks like that tree. But it's not. It's a different kind.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, that's pretty much all. I mean, I don't have anything to really talk about. But so anyway, everybody, she says, hey, get your ass back out there. Get this stuff back up. What the hell are you doing? Why haven't you done something? And my excuse is because, let me give you a couple of excuses. All right. I started a new job, quit that job, started another new job. And that new job has got me traveling all over the state. So that's why I'm complaining about the Florida traffic. All right. And I work, 12-hour days. So I don't have as much time as I used to be able to dedicate to this. So that's another excuse. The next one is when I do have that time, I want to sit on my ass and do nothing except for watch my football. At least right now. But here I was sitting on my ass doing nothing, and she's like, what are you doing? Get up off your ass, go in there, sit on your ass, and go in here and talk about some stuff. So, okay, all right, let's go. Come on. You want to do this? She's like, yeah. So I said, all right, let's go. Let's do it then. So here I am, and I'm doing it, and what do we got? What can we talk about? I'll tell you what, I'll talk about something. I was talking to a guy earlier today. This is what he tells me. I've talked to him a couple times. I barely know. Well, I don't like barely know him. I know him well enough to know that we can have a conversation. And this is what he says to me. He's like, hey, we're in the middle of a conversation. Okay? He's like, man, we're talking about funny things. And he's like, yeah. He's agreeing with me and I'm agreeing with him. And he goes, but you know what? You know what I hate?
What do you hate?
Well, I didn't, no, what do you hate? I'm like, he's like, you know what I hate? And I figured he would just be like, immediately like, you know what I hate? Nazis. Oh,
well,
but he didn't. He's like, you know what I hate? And I'm like,
what?
no. Like I had to say no. He was waiting for me to say no. Like, you know what I hate? No. You're right.
Right,
Yeah. And he's
waiting.
like, when someone says, at the end of the day, when they're talking, they're like, at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, my thought's like, in my mind, as he's telling me his explanation, I'm kind of not really hearing him. Because in my mind, I'm looking at the guy who's talking to me, and I kind of know him, but I barely know him. He's like, it's almost like Charlie Brown teacher. He's like, well, and telling me why he hates when someone says, you know what at the end of the day.
Right.
In my mind, I'm thinking, damn, this is what this guy hates. This is the one thing he wanted to complain about. He wanted to ask me, do you know what I hate? And then start talking about that he hates when someone says at the end of the day, and he's got this long explanation. The whole time I'm looking at him, and I've had enough time in my mind to go, this guy's still talking about the fact that he hates if somebody says at the end of the day. And I kind of, listen in for a moment, and I hear, and he's actually really still talking because it drives me nuts. And they're just kind of like you're just supposed to know that what they're trying to tell you is, and he has this, and he keeps on going with this explanation. So I go back into my mind going, holy crap. Why wouldn't this guy say, oh, I hate Nazis? Or
I hate traffic.
Right, exactly. I hate the traffic that we have to deal with. Or
I hate Publix.
I hate flying. Oh, I can't stand it. It scares the shit out of me. I hate spiders, little ones, and they can kill you if they bite you. And I'm going through all the things that I could think of that are, a lot more severe that I would hate besides, you know what I hate? What? When people say at the end of the day. And now I got a confession that I got to make to you.
Okay.
For unknown reasons, I have no idea why. I decided, I got to make the guy feel good, I guess. So I decided to say, like I agreed with him. I was like, hell yeah, you know what I hate? And he's like, what? And I'm like, when people tell you, period, point blank.
Ugh.
Okay, so period, point blank. And that means that's it. That's done. That's the end of the conversation. I don't get a point. I don't get to say. They tell you, this is how it's going to be. We're going to do it this way. Period, point blank, done and done.
Yeah, you don't get an option.
Like, wait.
It's over.
No, I mean, period, point, says who? Says you?
Says the person, whoever is the person who said,
and
point
if
blank.
And if they're having an argument with you and they're having a conversation with them, that's how it's going to be. It's just how it's going to be. Period, point blank. It's done. It's over with. What?
They might think that.
It's over with, So I go on to this long conversation, and him and I go back and forth about things that people say that bother us.
Everybody has those, though.
All right, such as what? Do you have one?
Yes.
What do you hate? What's one you hate?
Long story short.
Hey, I do
because
that. I say that.
No matter who says, long story short, they still tell you the
long
story.
How about this then?
I hate that so much.
Well, then why don't they give you the Reader's Digest version?
I would rather hear that.
Isn't that the same thing?
No.
Yeah, it is. Long story short.
No.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version.
If they really do give you the Reader's Digest version, please just say you're going to do that. Don't tell me long story short.
But it's the same thing.
It's going to be a short story, and then give me the long story.
But that's what the Reader's Digest version means, isn't it?
No, Reader's Digest version means that they're going to give you, here, A, this is what happened. B, this is what we did. C, this is where we went. It's all very, very simple and factual. Long story short is a long story that you are not going to understand in the end.
How? I can tell you a long story short that you can understand.
I hate it so much.
So you hate the phrase?
Because you lie when you say it. Long story short.
Oh, what's another one? Can you think of another one?
These ones.
Well, if you watch that show, Adam Ruins Everything, he actually talked about how when people say these ones, it's kind of like a transition, if you will, of the English language and how over the times the language has changed, that it's actually going to evolve into that.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that episode, but it bothers me like when people confuse there, and there, or your and your. Okay,
well, we're not trying to get into an English class here. We're trying to get into
people say things that are annoying.
All right, well, don't correct me. I don't feel like I'm getting an F on my paper here.
Sorry. Okay, so like what? Like blood on my hands.
Okay, what does that mean?
I hate that.
Yeah, or my hands are clean. Right. Like, okay, Pontius. All right, yeah, your hands are clean, huh?
Right.
Right. You didn't have anything to do with that, did you? Right. Yeah, it wasn't your fault at all.
Completely 100% innocent in all of it, right?
Yeah, no blood. I don't want any blood on my hands. Well, there is some right there. How? I don't know how you got it there. It's just there. There it is. I see it. You don't see nothing on my, your hands aren't clean. Oh, my hands, I wash my hands of that.